Welcome back to Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Gregory here with Chris Brinkley here for another episode of Skyhawk Sports Talk. Our final episode of 2024. We're going to take about a 3-week break. Come back the week after UT Martin opens up at home in conference play with basketball, the Little Rock SEMO week. So the week after that will be our next show. But final show for 2024. Chris, got a good group on.
Yeah, we do. We have basketball coaches and basketball players because it's a week of basketball.
And it's the only thing going on right now at UT
yeah.
Martin. So taking a look at this week in Skyhawk Athletics, men's basketball and women's basketball at Morehead State and at Southern Indiana. The women playing at Morehead State at 4. Men will follow that game at 6:30. And then at Southern Indiana, the women tip off at 1 and the men at 3:30. You can tune into those games on ESPN+. And then also with Chris and I on the Skyhawk Sports Network, we'd be more than happy to have you listen to us as we make the trip around. And then we'll have a whole week off with Christmas coming up. Chris, going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, no doubt. So at utmsports.com is where you can find the schedules and a way to listen and watch. And let's talk to our coaches and see what's coming up as we hit conference play.
Absolutely. We'll take a break. Keep it right here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Gregory here with Chris Brinkley here at Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Joining us now, our first guest of the show, head coach of the UT Martin men's basketball team, Jeremy Shulman, as the Skyhawks wrapping up non-conference play with 2 games this week against Alabama State. And then champion Christian, Alabama State, terrific comeback attempt, just falls short in overtime, Coach. But then champion Christian, a dominant performance from your group. Really, I mean, this week overall, we've seen this team grow a lot.
Absolutely. One thing I want to say about the Alabama State game that, is continuing to bug me outside the fact that we couldn't quite get it done in overtime. So Arkansas State played in men's game yesterday, and they came back from 26 down. And so there's a bunch of big hoopla about they won in overtime where we had lost in overtime, and they said there's only been 6 times in Division I history that teams come back from 25 or more and won the game.
Wow.
And
really?
in the second half, yeah. And
really?
We almost were one of those teams. And
wow,
right
I didn't
there.
know that. I remember very specifically. I think I'm right. You may remember this. Kentucky came back and beat LSU.
How funny is that? I remember that one. Yes,
they were down 31.
Yes.
I think, and they did it in the second half. So
and had they not taken 2 points off the board for the goaltend, where they called a goaltend, gave us 2 points, they reviewed it, somehow took 2 points off, and then of course I watched the film later, and it was absolutely goaltend. So if they don't take the 2 points off.
Yeah,
there we go.
But no, that says so much about your team, though. I think to be able to overcome that, about your mentality.
It shows a lot of growth. You kind of started the whole question with that, and so just seeing the growth from our guys, that couldn't have happened a month ago. A month ago, our young guys, again, I say this every time on the podcast, we're very young. A month ago, we probably don't make that comeback. Maybe we chip away at it some, but we don't make that comeback. And Alabama State came out hot, and they made shots, and they're a well-coached team. Coach Matlock does an unbelievable job. They got a lot of older guards, and they just made shots, and we could have packed it in. And instead, we found something special, and we competed, and really, really proud of our guys. I mean, would have loved to have, figure out a way to win that in overtime, but we're a little bit gassed at that point, and couldn't quite get it done. But,
and I'm a firm believer that if you do that once, even though you didn't win, it was an amazing comeback. If you're in a situation where you're down late in the game, you still believe because you've done it before.
It's a good point. I'm going to use that.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to use that for sure.
Yeah.
And we talked pregame about that game against Alabama State, that you feel like that was the turning point in the season for you all to be able to come back out of halftime and again come back, get that game into overtime.
Absolutely. It really did. It felt like a turning point. And our guys were talking about in the locker room after. And we had some tears because we got competitors, and so we got guys that want to win that game. But it really did feel like a turning point. And the guys were talking about it as a turning point. And we felt a new level of connectedness. And even with the turning point, we still made some more adjustments going into champion Christian. And I thought some adjustments that really helped us out. But we're really excited going forward. Again, still a lot of learning to go. But very, very young teams growing up very quickly before our eyes.
Yeah.
Terrence Ginyard, 31 points against Alabama State, and then he gets 31 against champion Christian. UT Martin wins that 123-56. He's the OVC Player of the Week and Newcomer of the Week, Coach.
Awesome.
So back-to-back 31-point performances. He's been impressive here as the season's gone on. And another thing that we talked about before the game yesterday was the game's starting to slow down for TG.
It is. He's starting to really understand the college basketball game, and he's understanding his angles better. He's understanding his decision-making better. I'm just so proud of him. I mean, again, again, for him to have 31 in back-to-back games in college basketball games is so impressive. And
on your team, not getting over 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do play a lot of guys. So it was just very proud of him. And game's slowing down for him. He's starting to really make the right decisions, and he's a heck of a player.
Yeah. He is. Hey, getting into that one a little bit more. School records for threes in a game were set, rebounds in a game, 2, as you all cruise in the non-conference finale. Hey, talk about the mentality going into a game like that, because he said it after the broadcast when we were talking with you post-game. It wasn't the 88 Lakers. It wasn't Showtime out there. But still at the same time, you want to go out there and execute, make sure that you get off on the right foot heading into conference play.
Absolutely. Our process is the same no matter what. And that's one thing that I think separates our program, our team, our players, our coaching staff, our individuals. It doesn't matter. We tell our guys, if you're playing a pickup ball in June, it's got to be played the same way as a national championship game against UConn. Wow. I mean, that's our mentality. And when you step in between the lines, there's a right way to play the game, and there's a wrong way to play it. And so we want to play the right way. And so I thought our guys did a great job of that against Champion Christian and coming in playing the right way.
That's really, you hear coaches sometimes say respect the game.
Yeah.
To play that way in a pickup is taking it to a whole new level. That's a mentality that most people don't have.
You should see our guys. They get competitive. It could be, again, in a June summer pickup game, but they get after it. And it's just, we try to recruit players with that competitiveness. We try to foster that within our program. And so, I mean, that's something we really believe in.
I believe that if Mr. Naismith were here right now, he would high five you.
That would be great. I would take the high five.
That would be an honor. That would be a true honor. The father
Respect
of basketball.
the game.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
right.
would.
And so Phillip gets to start in this one. His first career start of the season for him. Gets a double-double, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Wanted to start off with him first and then lead into the amount of starting 5 combinations that you've gone with here to start this year. But for Phillip, him getting the nod and then his performance, so what'd you see from him?
So I think Phillip's a heck of a player. And, he's had an unfortunate go of it so far. He was banged up a lot in the preseason. He's banged up during the season some, so it was hard getting him just continually healthy. And so he hadn't had a lot of opportunity and had a couple of great practices and said, you know what, I got to go with my gut. We're going to start Phillip. And I think my staff looked at me like I was crazy. He said, wait, what? And, he earned it. And I believe a lot in Phillip, and I believe in a lot of our guys. And, Phillip really responded and was fantastic. Again, to have a double-double, to run really all 5 positions on the floor. I thought he really helped us. He's going to be a bright spot going forward.
I'll ask you a question we talked about during the broadcast yesterday, but I'm a firm believer that it really doesn't matter if you start. You really kind of want to close. And with the way your style of playing, a lot of players are getting a lot of playing time. So will we see you kind of solidify a starting lineup, or will it just vary throughout the season, which I think could be interesting because that makes you almost impossible to scout.
Yeah, what's difficult about it is I agree with you. I would love to say starting doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's who plays minutes and who finishes and do we win. For young players, it's a little different mentality. So guys do like to start. But we've had to mix it up some, due to health reasons at times, but also just to kind of wake some guys up. And I would honestly, as much as I don't think it matters who starts, I think we might be getting closer to settling in on a starting lineup and rotation, for the year. Now, some of that depends on how successful we are, and I know I'm a process guy, but, the process does lead to the results. And if the certain process of a starting lineup is good and leads to good results, and we'll probably keep that process.
Of course, makes sense.
Josue grew, talked about his defense in this game. It was very good. Also scoring just like usual at a career high in threes made, was just 3 off the single game record, and then 1 point shy of his career high of 24. Then had 8 rebounds and 4 assists. But want to focus in on his defense. We talked about Josue the scorer, but Josue the defender. You all watched film the night before. Walk me through his performance on the defensive end.
Thank you for bringing that up. So proud of Josue. He's extremely capable defensively to be a very good, not just an okay defender. He's very capable to be a great defender. And he has not been most of the year and most of his career, just to be very honest, because he hasn't had to, because he's a very talented player offensively. And so, he's gone through some ups and downs at times just defensively. And so, he just wants to get better. He does. He wants to get better. He wants to learn. And so he's been wanting to watch a lot of film with me. And so we watched film for about an hour the night before game. And I was honest with him about his deficiencies at times, and we showed it on film. And for him to come out and have the type of defensive effort he did, but, on the ball, off the ball, rotations, every detail, I was blown away. That's a huge thing for us going forward if and when he sustains that.
Yeah. So he obviously absorbed what he watched and then executed.
He did. And you know what? not all guys can do it, and
Right. Or it takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It does. It takes time. I mean, you got to want to. I think at the end of the day, like anyone with change, you've got to see that there's also an issue. You know, if you don't see there's any issue, then you're not going to want to change something.
Your thoughts on this? Because I've always said if you're athletic and can play good offense, you can play good defense.
Yeah.
Now, you might be a good defender and not be a great offensive player because it's a whole different skill set.
Right.
But is that a true statement?
To an extent, you know, for right or wrong, and we've been really good defensively for a long, long, long time. But for right or wrong, you've got to be very cerebral in our system defensively.
Yeah.
And it's our system, and it's given us a lot of success, and so we're probably not going to change a whole lot and deviate a lot from what we do.
Is it complicated?
It's a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
It is. And so, you do have to have a level of being cerebral and also wanting to learn it, and also, just being honest, you already mentioned the ability to apply it, to take what you learned and actually do it. And so it's not for everybody. But what it does is it can hide some physical deficiencies for some guys that may not be as good defensively in other systems.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you do have to really know what you're doing.
Yeah. And that takes time.
Yes.
And you've just been thrown into the deep end of the swimming pool this season in the non-conference part of the year, but it's coming together.
Yes. Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
I assume in your history of coaching, your teams are probably at their best defensively in February.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We usually get better and better throughout the year, and that's one of our big goals is to get better and better and play your best basketball in conference tournament time or postseason time, your next best basketball late in conference season, next best basketball. Obviously, you just work it backwards. But that's a big part of our goals because it does take time, especially a group like this with all these newcomers that have never played Division I basketball before. I think you can see us getting better right before your eyes. I think we're going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
And Vladimer Salaridze, I know we'll talk with him here in a second. Third double-double of the year, 12 points, 13 rebounds. How has he been on the team? Kind of a veteran guy playing at UC Riverside Division I school and coming in and leading this group.
He's been phenomenal. And just on the basketball court alone, his ability to be so multi-positional, multi-dimensional, be able to rebound like he does from a wing spot. He can play, really 5 positions on the floor. He can pass it. He can shoot it. He's a good defensive player, both inside and out. I can't say enough good things about Vlad. He's a heck of a player. There's a reason he was on the OVC preseason watch list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And getting into conference play now, Morehead State and Southern Indiana this week. Have you looked at all about what the rest of the league is doing right now, or are you just kind of focused in on you all?
A little bit of both. We've been real focused on us, but now that it's getting really close, I have turned some attention towards, upcoming. I watched film all morning this morning on Morehead, all film this morning on Southern Indiana. I know my assistants are doing a phenomenal job getting those scouts ready as well. And our league's very good. It's very, very balanced. There's not much that separates the top and the bottom in our league. And a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players, and you look at some of the non-conference results, even with tough schedules. Our conference is really, really good.
Have you been to Morehead?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
First trip to Morehead.
Yeah, first trip.
I'm sure you've been to Evansville.
I have. I've been to Evansville, but never to Morehead.
Very
so
cool. Yeah,
nice little drive out
It'll
there.
be fun Thursday.
It will.
Let's bring home an early Christmas present.
Yes, I'll take a win there. That'll be great.
First 2 games on the road to start conference play, and it's a long trip to Morehead, and then it'll be a hefty drive to Evansville too. But then no games until after Christmas week, and I know that you want to have a good performance so that it sits in you all's mind and the players' minds of okay, we did well and we can rest now. We've gotten into our break on the right foot and we're on a good side of things. How important is it to perform well in these 2 games considering that there's a week-long break coming up?
It's important, but, I want to make sure our guys understand that, it's still about the process on there. Obviously, we'd love to perform well. We'd love to go 2-0 on that trip, but, it doesn't make or break the season. If we go 2-0, that doesn't mean we won the OVC title. If we don't go 2-0, it doesn't mean that we lost OVC title. So we just have to keep getting better. It's just the reality of it. A little bit cliche sounding as it is, we just got to keep getting better. Now, we're competitors, and we're going to have a great game plan, and we're going to compete, and we would love to go 1-0 on Thursday and then 1-0 again on Saturday.
There we go.
I think that's a perfect thing to end on. Coach, appreciate your time as always. Good luck this week.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
And we'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Vladimer Salaridze join us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk, Davis Gregory and Chris Brinkley here with you all at Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee. Now joining us, UT Martin men's basketball student athlete Vladimer Salaridze, redshirt senior from Georgia, the country of Georgia. How do you say the town that you're from?
It's called Tbilisi.
Tbilisi. Okay.
Tbilisi,
Tbilisi, Georgia.
Tell us about your town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Let's
an old
start off
town.
there.
It's the capital city.
Uh-huh.
Most of the people live there. A lot of history. The different areas are like different sides of. Some part it's old and some it's new. Downtown, you got the scenes and stuff. So, yeah, I always love to go back.
Where's the best place? If we were to go with you, where would you take us to eat?
My uncle's restaurant.
Oh, your uncle's restaurant.
Yeah. What's your uncle's name?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay. No, tell us about the restaurant. Tell us.
Well, it sits on this hill where it looks over the river.
Okay.
And I have pictures I can show you,
Yeah.
but it's amazing. The food is great, and yeah.
What is your favorite dish from Georgia?
It has to be khachapuri. It is it's
what
like
is
a
that?
pizza cheese it's like a pizza, but it's Georgian pizza, and it's all these different kind of cheeses, and it's like you bake it and you cut it into pieces and you eat it like a pizza.
Nice.
awesome.
Okay. I'll look it up.
So,
Yeah.
where does it compare to the United States version of pizza? Is it the best, or is it
Better than United States pizza?
Oh, it's not pizza. It doesn't taste like
It
it.
doesn't
Oh,
taste
okay,
like
okay.
pizza.
It's circular. It has cheese.
Is
it
it,
has dough.
is it thick or is it thin?
You can have it thick. You can have it thin.
Okay, like-
There's like a boat one where like
Oh.
a cheese boat. Yeah. You can have like 5 different kind of cheeses.
I'm
yeah.
in. Yeah.
I know where we're going in the
You
summer.
had me in cheese. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to Georgia. We're going to Georgia this summer. But let's get to basketball here, Vlad. So transferred from UC Riverside
Yeah.
after 2 seasons there. Played for Coach Shulman at Eastern Florida State
did.
College.
I
And
did.
talk about your time there with him at Eastern Florida State. And I know you all were able to accomplish 2 championships. You were a 2-time conference
did.
all-honoree.
Yeah, we won a lot of games. Yeah. So my first year playing for Coach Shulman, I played him during the COVID year. And I remember like 4 months of just straight practice, no games, seeing him every day, seeing me. I just grew up with him, next to him. When I left, it was time to move on. But I remember last winter FaceTiming him. I'm about to play a conference game in Hawaii, and I'm like, Coach, I wish I could play for you again. He's still at Eastern Florida, and he's like, the only issue has been between us that I'm not a D1 coach,
Yeah.
And then come March or April, and he becomes a D1 coach, and it just felt like the stars aligned.
Yeah.
So is that what did it for you to come and play for him?
I'm so happy to be here, play for him. I don't know this town. I've never heard of it, but it's beautiful. But initially, I just came for the coach.
Is he the same coach as he was back
Yes.
then? Yeah.
He's a little cooler now.
Oh, okay. He's caught up with the times.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about Martin. What are there any similarities between Martin and then your town? I know your town is the capital of the capital of Georgia, but are there any similarities? What have you liked here about your time so far in Martin here in the first couple months?
I mean, the answer is always going to be the people. Like everyone's so nice. I think it's the southern hospitality, but everyone is so nice here. Everyone say hello to you, and back home totally opposite.
Really?
Oh man.
Yeah. So I've loved it so far. It's been amazing.
Good.
Yeah, let's talk about the team here this season. Again, a lot of newcomers, and David really the only returner on the group. How have you all felt like you've performed here in this season? I know that there's still room to improve, but what's been the outlook so far in the year for you guys?
I mean, we are a young group, but at the same time, we're ambitious and we're confident, and we are not satisfied with what we have done. We're a bunch of JUCO guys. We're a bunch of internationals coming together for a common goal. The answer to your question would be that we're not happy with the way we've performed, but we understand that there's a process to this, and the margins are small, and we are trending towards the right direction, and I truly believe that. And David has been an amazing leader. Even though he's been out with injury, he's been, taking initiative on most of leadership positions on our team.
Yeah.
And what are some things that you've learned from him? Because he's been at Martin for now. This is his 4th year. He's a senior. What are some things that you've picked up on from him?
Just little leadership aspects here and there. It's my 5th year, but I've never really been in a big leadership position. And his toughness and his voice and his everything all together has taught me a lot, honestly, in the first months here. And I'll continue to learn from him, and hopefully we get to see him back this year. I don't know the status on him, but Yeah, he's been great for us.
Absolutely.
He's funny too.
Oh my
he's
goodness.
a funny guy.
Cam's a funny guy. Cam's a funny guy. There's a coffee machine downstairs, and I'll go get coffee probably towards the end of the day, get an extra boost to go. And I go in there, and one time I went and I got the Keurig pods from Walmart to refill up. And then I go back in there maybe 3 days later. There's only like 3 cups left. I'm like, Jody, where's the cups at? And she goes, and we've had Jody on the show before. I was like, Jody, where are the cups at? She's like, Cam comes in here and gets 2 cups. Sometimes he'll get 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee. And it's like, Cam, what are you doing? And so whenever I see him, I start calling him 2-Cup Cam because he just goes
I
and
love
gets
that. Maybe
2
someday
cups
he'll
of
own a coffee shop.
He might. Well, as much as he loves it, apparently. I mean, he's got to keep him full up on his caffeine. That's what it is. It's exactly
I've got a
what it
question.
is.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak 2.
2?
I speak 2. I mean, I went to a Russian primary school, so I understand Russian as well. But Georgian is my first language, and I learned English here in America.
Yeah.
So.
And what's it like in the locker room with so many languages?
It's actually funny. We had a meeting talking about how we're supposed to limit our languages because there's 5 Serbians, not Serbians, but they speak the same language.
Yeah.
And there's Spanish speakers and French with Lamine, and so to be fully included, we're like keep it to English so we can all understand.
No, it's confusing. I'm an English major, but I took Spanish and French in college, and I'm fascinated by language. And I think the more you know, the more languages you know, the more you understand just language and how language works. But you do need this unified way to communicate with each other. It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, we find shortcuts with it, like hand signals. Coach does a tremendous job with every day it's a new hand signal. But I know we figure it out, day by day.
Obviously,
That's great. That is great. Mindset heading into conference play. I mean, the OVC is a terrific conference with a lot of really quality teams, and you start out on the road. What's you all's mindset? Some of your goals here as you start out in these first 2 games.
I mean, I know Coach said it's process, but I mean, I'm there to win. I want to win. Especially in the game against Alabama State, we realized that it doesn't matter whatever's going on, how much you're down by. If you can get a group 5, 6, 7 guys that are willing to be laser focused and just one play at a time and just grind it out, no matter how much time is left, then we saw the effects. And then we also saw the effects of when you lose that focus in overtime and you lose by 10. So we're looking to put that all together. And and our mentality, in the locker room, it's we know we're young, but it's time to grow up, and we're growing up now, and it's win now, so.
And last thing for us, graduated with a degree in political science from UC Riverside, and now trying to get your master's degree in political science from UT Martin. What are your plans?
MBA.
Your
Not
MBA.
political science.
Okay. MBA.
Yes.
So plans after graduating for you?
I mean, plan A is to keep playing as long as I can, and plan B, I mean, life is long. I'll figure it out. I got political science degree. I want to work in politics somewhere, maybe back home, maybe here. Some internships, maybe I'll figure it out.
How's the game back home? How's basketball different?
It's trending upwards. It's not nearly the level that is in the States or some other European countries, but it's a stepping stone league where you play there for a year or 2, and then you jump to like a German league or Spain or. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, Vlad, thank you so much for your time. Hey, and listen, we'd vote for you. We'll vote for you if you ever run for office. So there you go.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have Anaya Brown from the UT Martin women's basketball team on with us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley, as another guest joins the show. It is Anaya Brown, UT Martin women's basketball student-athlete, junior from Lexington, Kentucky, major in health and human performance. Anaya, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good win yesterday on Sunday against Arkansas State, and I mean being able to get into conference play with a win under your belt to go along with that Missouri State win, which was a quality one at that. I mean that really had to feel like some good momentum building up.
Yes, we've been practicing very hard for the couple of days leading up to it, and we just needed that win very badly.
Yeah, it was a nice game.
Yeah, and so Deja and Caitlin have been running the point guard a lot this season. And how is it playing with those 2 newcomers in the backcourt?
Deja and Caitlin, they're good. They're very good at what they do. They can read the floor very well, and they can give it to you whenever they need to.
Deja seems to be one of the quickest players I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
She can pass people whenever she wants to, and I'm like, just why don't you?
No,
You're so
you've
quick.
been around a lot of basketball players, but she's way up there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She can jump high, she can rebound, and she can just dish it. She sees the floor very well, and it's
Yeah.
very nice to have her on the court.
And had a pretty good game yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Had 8 assists too,
Yeah.
so it was a good game for her. I mean, you need a recruiter to run track with you. Is what I'm hearing. is that what we need to do? We need to call up Coach Lita and get Deja a tryout.
We should, but I don't know if Deja will do it.
I love that.
Lita might be all in on it, but then Deja's like,
I actually understand.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it at all.
I have a question for you. So we played Louisville earlier this year at
Yes.
home, and the Louisville coach singles you out. And I've never really seen a coach have as long as a conversation, an opposing coach with a player on another team.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was good. It was him asking me just like, why didn't you just jump over our big girls the whole night? They can't jump.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really didn't think much about it.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have someone from your home state, especially Louisville, since I'm
Oh,
from
that's true. That's right.
Lexington, Kentucky, and we know the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry is a big thing.
Yeah.
And so just having that there, it was very nice.
And ultimately, he complimented you
Yes.
by saying that, and hopefully gave you a boost of confidence.
It did.
Yeah, did it? Good. Yeah, because, I mean, if you get that kind of recognition from an opposing coach, that's nice.
Yeah, it's real good. Real good. So the season so far, I know that you all had been gone for a long time, and y'all had been able to go to Hawaii, face UCLA, and then Hinkle Fieldhouse against Butler. First, let's go ahead and talk about what was the experience like in Hawaii. Have you ever been to Hawaii?
I've never been to Hawaii.
Okay.
So it was a great experience getting to see everything. It was beautiful there.
Really?
Yes.
Really. The water, I mean, it's how clear is the water? I mean,
It was crystal clear.
crystal clear.
Did y'all get in the water at all?
We did. We had
Oh.
time to go to the beach. It was so fun.
Coach gave y'all time to go to the beach?
He did.
What a kind soul he is. I tell you what.
Did you see, sea lions? I almost got attacked by a sea lion in Hawaii one time.
What?
We saw a sea turtle
Yeah.
and some fish,
Okay.
but no
Okay.
sea lions.
Fish when you were swimming?
Mhm.
Oh, that would have gotten me. there.
So you almost got attacked by a sea lion?
Yeah, I mean, they're dangerous. I think that's what they are. Am I wrong on that? Were there sea lions, walruses? What were they in Hawaii? Do you remember? Sea lions.
Manatees? Could they have been manatees?
No, it was the thing. It was a sea lion.
Okay, well, glad you didn't get attacked by any sea
Yeah.
lions. That's
What about the food? Did you eat pineapple?
Yes.
Yes, we had this like pineapple smoothie in a cup. It was so good. It was so fresh.
So I have a feeling someday you'll go back to Hawaii.
Most definitely.
Has your family ever been to Hawaii?
We have not,
Okay.
so it's just me so far.
Okay. All right.
Did your mom go on the trip with you all?
She did not make the trip.
Oh.
She wanted to come to more road games this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's
it's always
completely fair.
comforting to look up and see her.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
For us. I don't know about for you,
Yeah,
but for
yeah.
us it is.
Well, and then she says what, I mean, Chris and I are thinking the majority of the time. We've talked about this before, but I mean, we're sitting there like, I don't know about that. And then your mom's like, that's a foul. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yes, 100%. So going back to the game yesterday, free throws really got you going in that second half. And want to start out there. First part of the question is for you, whenever you're kind of struggling from the field and it's maybe a hard game to get the ball in the bucket, do you feel like when you get to the free throw line and you start to see the ball go in, that kind of opens your game up a little bit more?
It does. It makes me feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more better because I'm able to get to the free throw line and stuff like that. So it'll make the game a lot better for me.
Yeah, and then that second half, what was kind of the mindset after hitting those free throws of, okay, then got the ball to you a little bit more on the fast break, running up and down the floor, track is coming into play there, already getting ready for the season. And, I mean, teammates find you out in transition and then also hit that three and then start to work in the paint a little bit more.
Yeah. It was just more of what can I do for my team and what did they need me to do? And at those moments, they needed me to run the floor, get easy buckets, and when I'm open, take shots.
And it was,
So that second half, you guys were flowing. I mean,
Yes.
what was happening?
I couldn't tell you. We just clicked. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so we just knew we got to keep going, keep continuing. Don't let up at all.
Is that the best flow of offense you've had this season?
Yes,
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah. Good. If you do it once, you can do it again.
and shot 55% from the field in that game, 47% from three, and then 87% from the line. And it was ugly Christmas sweater day, so a lot of the people on the staff were wearing Christmas sweaters, including Coach McMillan. It's the same sweater as last year. We needed to switch that up for him next time. But when you see him walk out in that, are you already locked in mentally, or are you like, oh my gosh, what is he doing?
He just ignores everything. So any event we're doing, we just have to be locked in and focused. And then afterwards, we'll celebrate and make fun of him.
See,
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, like, I feel like if I sat down in the huddle and then he comes over and he sits down and he starts talking and I just see Snoopy on his chest, I don't know if I can take you so serious right now.
I have a question for you. So I've worked with Coach McMillan for a long time, back when he coached high school. And if you asked me, Chris, do you know anyone else in your life that is similar to Coach McMillan? I would go, no. There's not another human that I know that I can compare to Coach McMillan. You've played for a lot of coaches, been around a lot of basketball. Is there anybody else like Coach McMillan?
The closest we have on our team is Kinley.
Oh, okay.
Really?
There we
Yes.
go. Yeah, so an extension of Coach McMillan, kind of.
Kind of. They're
Yeah.
very competitive. They'll tell you what they think, and they want you to get it done.
That's funny. Yeah. Does that help the team?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But Kinley won't ever say she's like him. So
Okay. I'll never tell. We'll never
Well,
tell.
then she was on the show telling us about the going to Hawaii, and she was like, "Oh, I gotta sit next to Coach McMillan."
Did they sit next to each other on the plane?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
We got to contact TSA or somebody. Like, no, you got to when you have your ticket, that's where you sit. It's unbelievable. Who'd she switch with? Who was sitting up there with him?
She was sitting behind me at one point in time.
Oh my gosh, she tried to get, I guess, as far away from Coach McMillan as
What'd you
possible.
do on that long flight?
Sleep.
Okay. Good.
Really?
Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. Do you get airsick at all, or are you good?
I'm okay
'Cause I was about to
until turbulence hits, and then
And
I'm like, we need to get out.
I need some
Yes.
Dramamine.
Did you
or
have
something like that.
turbulence?
We had 2 hours worth of turbulence.
2 hours in the middle or on landing or taking?
Going towards Hawaii, it was the last 2 hours of the flight.
Oh,
Yeah, it was terrible.
wow.
Goodness gracious! No, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's not good. Getting back into basketball here as we start to wrap some things up. How have you grown from last season? I know that last year a sophomore, then now a junior. What are some things that you feel like you've grown in?
More of a leadership role, and like just correcting people when they need help, and if they ask me for help, me giving my knowledge and just helping as any way I can.
Yeah.
Great.
Take that with you throughout your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good philosophy.
And adjustments for conference plays. You all gear up 2 games on the road and then a whole week off. What are you all looking to maybe improve on, stick to? What are some things you look to work on here as you all hit the road?
Just flowing into our offense better, executing more. It's starting conference now, so these games count more. And so we just need to execute, keep sticking with our game plan, and just rebound.
So question. You've played some of the best teams in the country. You have one of the hardest schedules in the country. You played on the road against these really good teams. Now you hit OVC play where you think the level of competition, the players may not be as tall or athletic, but at the same time, it's a different kind of basketball. Explain to me the difference between playing these high-powered teams in the non-conference and then the importance of the conference games and that competitive level that you're going to see at Moorhead and at Southern Indiana and everywhere you go.
With the Power 5 teams, we already know what to expect. We know they're going to be bigger, faster, and stronger, so we have to slow the game down and use what advantages we have in those moments to score. In conference, we have the biggest target on our back, and so it's going to be more competitive because you have UT Martin across your chest.
Yeah.
And so you have to be locked in every time. You have to be very focused, paying attention to detail, knowing our scouts, and then just running and executing.
Yeah, awesome.
And now your third year where you've gone through the conference, what's your favorite road trip in the conference? I know that no one likes to be on the road, but if you had to pick one road trip, you're like, I think I enjoyed that one the most. Which one is it?
Probably EIU or Tennessee State.
Okay, why EIU or Tennessee State?
Because for Shay, she hates EIU. And so we would like to win at EIU because all our family's there.
Right.
And then Tennessee State, more of my family gets to come because it's only 3 hours from Atlanta and it's like an hour from my grandparents and stuff. So they just come down and have a big section and just cheer.
Yeah. So it basically comes down to family, just having lots of family there. Good.
Love it. Well, Anaya, thank you so much for your time and good luck here the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll have head coach of the UT Martin women's basketball team on, Kevin McMillan, after this break on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk, final segment of the show. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley, as now joining us head coach of the UT Martin women's basketball team, Kevin McMillan, as the Skyhawks finish off conference play with a 82-71 win over Arkansas State. First game in 10 days, first home game since November 19th, coach, and was a really good performance for your group.
I thought we played kind of like we've been playing. We've played pretty well the last 5 or 6 games. Starting at home on that 19th, I think it was Missouri State, and played well then, and went to Hawaii and played well. UCLA was really good. Hawaii's really good. Fresno State's really good. And then we played Butler, who was getting votes in the top 25 in the country. And then we come home with Arkansas State. Arkansas State's style was a challenge, but I thought we played well. And I think the kids needed to win one of those games. They don't see getting better like you can or that I can. They just kind of see wins and losses. And I thought we were really competing against Fresno State and really competing against Butler. And there were stretches where we really would dominate the game. The difference is when you get to that level, the margin for error is so small, and we would make little mistakes. And we made those same mistakes against Arkansas State. It's just Arkansas State's not Butler, and that's not a slap at Arkansas State at all. They're a very good team. But we were able to survive. The mistakes we made was in the second quarter when we gave up a little run, and we were able in the second half to figure that out. So
you mentioned needing a win or it's a reward. I've always loved this about your teams. I've never known a player on your team celebrate. I mean, it's like they go out and do their job, and there's not a lot of celebration in a world now where players celebrate in basketball all the time. At the same time, towards the end of the game yesterday, I saw some smiles on your players' faces, and that's a celebration for somebody on your team, and that I thought that was kind of nice.
And they don't know what to do with me because I don't. I'm pretty even-keeled about everything we do. And, because I want them to learn that the highs are not that high and the lows are not that low. But in today's world, we exaggerate both of those.
Yeah.
And I don't care if they celebrate as long as you're doing your job. I don't care how you handle things. I think there was an and one with Shay last night that was kind of a big play of the game, and she and Deja looked like they jumped up and chest bumped each other.
They did actually, yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But what I don't want them to do is go, okay, well then I don't have to turn and make the next play.
Right.
But I will tell you this: the world's turning to where you celebrate every single thing that you do. So I guess you have to turn around and make
my
the next
thoughts,
play.
and I really see it in pro basketball more. I'm like, act like you've done this before.
Well, that's what I was taught.
And act like you can do it again. This is not.
Yeah, I mean, you make a three and you have to have some kind of gesture. It's like, okay, I've done that 7,000 times. I don't need to make a gesture.
No,
for
I
one.
think it's much, much more cool just to look at the defender and turn around and walk the other way.
To me, it's more intimidating. When you make the better the play that you make, the less that you react. That other defender's looking at you going, okay, he's going to do that every single time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of – but, I want them to celebrate them. I want to see smiles on their faces. But you can smile and compete.
Yeah.
But, again, you have to play for me for a while to figure out that, he doesn't care as long as you're competing. We're not going to be disrespectful, but celebrate if you want to. But you better turn around and do your job.
Yeah.
And too many times that we see that kids don't do that. But I saw us getting better since Missouri State. I've seen us getting better. And I thought it was just a matter of time till they put it all together. Now the question is, did we put it all together? Did we get lucky? And I'm hoping that that schedule that we've put them through, that playing 38 minutes against Butler really, really well will translate to the OVC.
Yeah.
That's the theory behind scheduling the way that I schedule, is that they're going to learn to play at a level that they wouldn't learn if they didn't play that schedule. And you figure out what you do is you figure out how to compete against the better teams. You if you're a competitor,
Yeah. Well, they show you your weaknesses more.
that
right?
you're going to see your weaknesses, but you learn to cover them up.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to compete at a level. You learn to compete with quicker, faster, stronger, whatever. And if you can then take that and make that who you are, you're going to be way better when you play somebody that's exactly your speed, your strength, your whatever. So, but
It's almost like in life. What's the saying that what's going to determine your future is the 5 people you're hanging around with. So you want to hang out with people who are above you or better,
push you.
that you feel like, that push
Yeah.
you, that make you step up a notch,
Yep.
which is what you're doing with the non-conference season.
Yep. The thing that I think we're going to have to adjust in the future is that I don't think kids today, they don't see the big picture as well. It's more instant. And so I think we're going to have to balance in some instant for them, because that's who they are these days.
Yeah.
So if we play Tennessee, we're going to have to play somebody that's not Tennessee. Instead of going, all right, well, let's play Tennessee. And then we'll study somebody that's not Tennessee, UCLA.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not Tennessee, but it is Tennessee. Okay, Louisville. Yeah, that's not, so I think next year we're going to balance stuff out and see how that goes. But I was proud for them to get a win. They deserve the win. And can we take that and run with it?
And the offense was playing really well. 55% from the field, 47 from 3, and then 87 from the line. And I thought that was one of the better offensive performances from the season.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is I quit coaching in all offense in the second half. And the second half is when we had 53 points. So I guess if I'll just shut my mouth, it will be fine. And my reasoning there, actually, I don't mind. That's what I did. Was in the first half, they were trying to handle pressure and execute what I told them to do at the same time, which they're not 100% comfortable with yet. So what we were doing is trying to handle pressure and think. You can't handle pressure and think. You need to handle pressure, and then you need to just be instinctive. Well, in the second half, I eliminated I said, we're only going to do one thing. That's it. So let's handle the pressure, attack them. And if we don't have it, we're doing one thing. Don't ever look at me. Don't ever listen. This is all we're doing. And so I think you saw them, they got to play. And so that was they
got comfortable.
Yeah. And real smart move on my part. Real smart. So what were you smart about, Coach? You sat over and shut your mouth.
I'd say actually a lot of coaches don't know that strategy.
Well, I mean, that's a high school coach that had to play. I had to play seasons where my kids were getting pressured all the time, and we were never going to out-athlete you, and we never could handle the pressure. Well, so you learn, okay, they can't do 3 things at once, guys. You just give them one thing, and we can do that. And so last night it was handle the press, and in the first half we weren't doing that, and we weren't executing. And so I was like, okay, well, we can't do both, so let's do one. So we said, let's handle the press like we're supposed to, and it worked. It worked its way out. Looked good on the scoreboard.
It did. Shea Littleford, 27 points, 5 steals, and then 11 for 14 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. She was really impressive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. Where we're ready to do this, our program is. As a coach, I'm ready for Shea to go 11 for 14 against Butler. I'm ready for Anaya to go 11 for 14 against Fresno State. Our program is ready for that. This team is not ready for that. The kids individually aren't ready for that, but they can do that. Mm-hmm. They haven't figured that out yet. And when they figure that out, I think this team is really, really good because we have pieces to the puzzle that we haven't had in a while. You know, you want us to slow down and execute like Butler did, play a 60-possession game? Fine. We did it and led for 36 minutes. Oh, you want to speed up and play up and down like Arkansas State? Fine. We can do that. So if we can figure out these pieces and get these guys to take some ownership of that, they have the ability to really be good because they can play so many different ways.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
a
a
the
big
most
thing.
versatile team you've coached at UTM.
It might be.
Yeah, it's up there. For sure.
You go back to probably Katie's Haley Howard.
That's what I was thinking. It was
That team
the year
was
after
extreme.
Heather
They
and
could
Jasmine,
play
yeah.
different. Well, that was 2 years after.
Okay. Okay.
Asia's team that year after her, we weren't very versatile. We just pounded you.
That's right.
And
it was that next year.
Heather and Jazz had a year where we were versatile, but those two were so unique at being so small that we couldn't do a lot of different things. But that 1 year with Katie and Haley and Chelsea Roberts and Jessie Ward, and then
And the
this
neat
bunch.
thing with Chelsea, I think I'm right on this, is that her stat line was not amazing, but when she was in the game, your plus minus was always
it was
better.
off the charts.
Yeah.
And we learned it at Christmas, and
Yeah.
I was an idiot not playing her
Well,
much.
analytics wasn't that big of a deal
It
back
wasn't.
then.
It
either.
wasn't. But I loved the plus minus.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to know what our team did when you were in.
And she just consistently had good numbers beside
Every
her
time.
name.
But if at the end of the game she's got 4 points,
Yeah.
3 rebounds.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, she's not doing anything. And her plus minus was plus 12.
Yeah.
And she plays 10 minutes. Well, in the next game she plays 15 minutes and she's plus 9. Then the next game she plays 7 minutes, she's plus 10. You're going like, okay, something.
So what was she doing? Like, what is that skill set?
I think she was doing whatever the team needed
There
in
you
that
go.
game.
Yeah.
And if in one game it may be screening, one game it may be giving a relief to your point guard. One game it may be rebounding. One game it may be this. One game it may be just keeping that other kid off the boards.
Yeah.
You just stuff that you just doesn't show up. And when she started playing minutes, we took off. And again, it's you wouldn't think that, but we've got the kids now kind of like her that can do that from a lot of different angles.
Yeah.
And we just need them to figure that out.
And 2 other pieces of the puzzle that played well. Deja Richmond had career high 8 assists. And then Lexi Rubel was, I felt like, more aggressive offensively, 8 points and then 8 rebounds.
Well, that's what Lexi did for us last year. Lexi at the end of a game last year, you would look and you would say, well, Lexi didn't do much. Yes, she had 9 points. She had 8 rebounds. She had 4 steals and she had 6 assists.
Yeah.
And you're going like, oh, wow. She has not been doing that this year. And I talked to her about that some and said, look, you need to be doing what you can do for this team. And so it was nice to see her being more aggressive yesterday. What I'm frustrated with is it's human nature, and it just frustrates me to no end. So, Lexi, I had to tell you to be more aggressive, and now offensively, I get it. You have to be more, but you got 8 rebounds. Why weren't you getting 8 rebounds 3 games ago?
And this is the part I don't understand. When you see a player and it happens, is it lack of effort or lack of confidence? So that's a different strategy to motivate a person.
I think your mind talks you into a level
100%.
and then you settle into that level.
Yeah.
And so if that level is complacency, you become complacent on defense, offense, rebounding, everything. I don't know how to trick your mind into going, you can do this and not do this. You can still do this but not this. And I don't know, but she's a perfect case.
You and I have talked about this. It's like you have an internal thermostat within you, Davis, for everything you do in your life. If your thermostat in your house is set at 70 degrees, if it gets 74, it's going to go back down to 70. If it gets 66, it's going to go up to 70. So wherever you define yourself as a rebounder, as a shooter, as a radio broadcaster,
you
as a coach,
gravitate to that.
you're going to be what
Yeah.
you define yourself as. So it's very important to clearly define yourself, I think, above where you are right now, so you can continue to raise that thermostat and grow as a human.
You want to set it at in the simplest terms possible. You want to try to be the best you can be. And what we often do, though, is we settle for less than the best we can be so we can be safe. We don't ever fail that way. But what you also don't want to do is you don't want to walk out there and set it higher than what your best is, because you're going to fail.
Right.
I mean, you just are. And if you fail, you'll tend to quit mentally or physically or whatever.
And ultimately, your players have to set it for themselves. You can't set it for them.
I can push it on you, and I can make some things happen that may get on your nerves, that might help you set it. But you have to decide what your level is going to be. And all we want you to do is just be the best you that you can be. And 99.9% of the time, if all 5 of our kids and the 3 subs and everybody on the bench, if we'll just be the best we can be, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But again, you're fighting. Look, I as a player did not do that when I was playing in college. I always held back because I could justify to myself, well, if I'd really tried, I could have done this.
That doesn't hurt so much when you fail.
And and you're justifying your failures.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after I started playing out of college, when I was on my own and I was playing for myself, that I realized, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this back before? And you can use the excuse of maturity, and it could be that. But I think deep down we all know when we're not giving the best effort that we can. I think we know. So my job as a coach is to try to push you so that you make that decision at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 rather than 23, 24, 25,
Like you
26
did. Yeah.
like I did.
Yeah.
So it's not
And
complicated.
I don't
it's
think
just
you've
hard.
ever lowered your expectations as a coach. I've never seen
No,
that happen with the season.
No, I haven't
never.
lowered my expectations. And most of the time, they will rise to the level that I think that they should. Now, injuries, schedule, matchups may throw some wrenches into it. But, in general, I simply want you to be the best you that you can be. So, Anaya, you should finish that and get an and one, not get your shot blocked. Kinley, you've missed 2 wide open jump shots that you just should be making in your sleep. You knock those down. Deja, don't turn the ball over 7 times. But what kids do is they justify to themselves, oh, he expects us to be perfect. What they're doing is they're fighting to stay in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Well, I can't be perfect, so I can't raise up to that level, and he just wants me to be perfect. And I'm like, striving to be the best you can be, I expect you to be perfect. To strive to be the best, to push yourself every day in practice, I expect that to be perfect. Push yourself. The ball going in the hole, turning it over, last time I checked, we haven't shut any team out. So they're going to score. Well, if they score, that means we're not perfect. So get that out of your system and let's go play. And I think we're getting there. I really do think this team has a high ceiling. I really do. But they've got a lot of ownership that they need to do before that takes place.
Yeah, you just strive for perfection without the expectation of perfection. You just get something right there.
Yeah,
I never thought about that. Yeah.
Get a T-shirt.
There you go.
Copyright that right there. Copyright that.
People want to get a lot of T-shirts with stuff I say, but that's usually
The
not
coaching
what they
staff is
choose.
here. This is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Well, they're here for one reason and one reason only, because Anaya's here.
Okay.
Oh,
So let's be.
They weren't here for you?
No, they were here.
Jazz
for
was here for you.
Jazz is not here for me.
What did
Jazz was
Jazz's
here.
sweater say yesterday?
Yeah, Merry Swishmas. That was good. That was very good.
Jagger was here because she wanted to support Anaya, and then she told Stacy on the phone, Stacy, you got to come up here because Coach said he was buying everybody lunch.
Oh.
Okay. I didn't say I was buying everybody lunch, but that's what Jazz tells Stacy.
Did you buy everybody?
Of course I did.
Okay, all right.
Once,
You're good.
because now if I don't, Stacy's mad at me because so.
You can't make Stacy mad either. She got a good Christmas sweater for you the other day, though.
Stacy, yes, yeah.
She
We
did.
got to have Stacy on the podcast.
You need to get
we
Stacy on the
should.
podcast.
What'd she say?
I don't know.
Same sweater.
Oh, it's
from
the
last
same
year.
one
Okay,
from
yeah.
last year.
That's
Yeah.
so-
But the win this time is what makes it special.
Well, we won last year with it, so we might need to be wearing that all the time.
Stacy's worked with you for I'm not even.
Oh my gosh.
Decades.
Yeah. I met Stacy at Westview my first year.
1997. Yeah.
Yep, 1997. And
She was a heck of a rebounder.
she was a heck of a rebounder, and she's got a heck of a mama too that kept her in line back then. Mom and Daddy.
Conference play coming up this week, Coach, at Morehead State and then at defending OVC champion Southern Indiana. Have you taken a look at, the league? What are you seeing from everyone and adjustments that you're kind of looking to make here since conference?
I've accidentally seen almost everybody in the league because of when we're getting ready to play somebody that we played them, but I haven't really watched the league from just. I honestly don't know records. I don't know. The little bit that I've watched, it's the same as it always is. And so, you're going to have to fight and scratch and claw, and everybody's going to give UTM their best shot.
That's what Anaya said.
Yesterday against Arkansas State, Jazz was going like, they didn't play like this against these other teams. Yeah, we tend to bring that out in people. So it's going to be a challenge. Southern Indiana didn't lose anybody, so the obvious favorite. Tech added a lot of kids from the portal that are graduate students and seniors, so they're obviously should be right there at the top. Little Rock really didn't lose anybody, so I would say those three should be the top teams. There will always be a team that got somebody that we didn't realize that's going to raise up. So a Lindenwood, a Eastern Illinois, a Tennessee State. You never know. A SEMO and SIUE. Somebody's going to come up. So we're going to have to be good for however many weeks it is, and we're a one-bid league. So I don't really care how good you play in the regular season. It's about the tournament. So
Yeah.
there's a long way to go before the tournament, and it starts this weekend, which, playing a 20-game schedule, I think is fair. I would have put it all after Christmas and moved our tournament back a week. I don't see us getting the media coverage. It's us and one other conference is having a tournament, and we don't get any media coverage. So we might as well move it back into championship week where – heck, I watched the Big South and the Southland Women's Championships on ESPN during the weeks. It's the championship week. We're playing on the week before where there's only us and the SEC women. Well, the ACC women's going on, but I'm talking about in our area. Mm-hmm. And we're not getting on there. So I would push it back just so we could push all our games after Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't like starting conference before. I understand it, and it's no problem. I'd rather have two before to play 20.
Yeah.
Just so you play everybody twice. Yeah. You don't have to worry about tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. But I have a feeling next year there'll be shakeup in the league, and we won't have 20, and we'll be doing something different.
Ooh.
Seems to be.
Okay.
A sneak peek. Okay. Sneak peek of the schedule, maybe.
This was so funny. When I was AD, we were sitting there, and they were talking about we're going to go through the rotation of a schedule. And I'd been there 6 years or 8 years already. And they asked me what I thought, the athletic directors. They said, as a basketball coach, what do you think about this? And I looked around at all the ADs, and one of them finally said, you can speak freely. And I went, okay. I said, guys, in 8 years, y'all put this schedule in front of me and said we're going to return it and have it balance itself out. It has never gone through a sequence, so teams get screwed. Mm-hmm. You say, well, on this year, it'll balance itself back out. We never get there. And they were like, well, this one we're going to do it. Yeah, we didn't do it. So we've never gone through an entire sequence where a team had 4 straight road games. Well, it balances out in the third year and they get 4 straight home games, or the fourth year. It's never done that.
I know you never use the schedule as an excuse, but when it is released and you look at it that first time, are you automatically, is your head spinning like, is this favorable to us or is this tough?
You look for challenges, and where things are going to be hard. And what was so funny is I asked the coaches last year what the challenges were on the schedule. And you got 4 straight road games. You got travel staying in hotels. You got all this kind of stuff. So there were 6 things that they came up with. Us and one other team were the only ones that had 5 of the 6. Nobody else had 3.
Really?
And when I look at that, I go,
Yeah.
okay, that's not right.
Yeah.
Now, if it was us and one other team had 5 and everybody else had 4, okay, whatever. But we went from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, that you got a computer or you've hired somebody to do this and that's the best they can do. You know, if you're gonna get screwed on the schedule, you screw everybody. Just everybody.
You think AI, artificial intelligence, could do it now?
You could randomly do it and say, I wouldn't care if we draw
Well,
a
AI
number.
could take the 6 things and make sure every team had 3 instead of one team having 5 and one team.
Well,
having 2.
they say they do that, and then
No.
they don't.
But the league is so different now with Little Rock and Western Illinois. I mean, I can't imagine going from Moorhead to Little Rock. Anyway,
The travel,
we won't get into this.
is in the league is horrible.
And
we're
other
lucky.
conferences probably have it worse.
Well, Western Illinois thinks the travel's awesome
Yeah, from what they came
from what they came from. So
Yeah.
it's just what are you used to? We're used to Moorhead being the worst trip of the year, but there was only one, and now it's we've got the Moorhead 5+ hours. We've got 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And used to be it was just one.
Well, Murray was an easy trip. Clarksville
Murray,
was an easy
Austin
trip.
P.
Yeah. Belmont was an easy trip.
It was easy, but it has gotten harder. But, I mean, it just depends. And if we shake up the leagues again, heck, we may be playing Idaho. and if we do, we'll be complaining about going to Idaho. The schedule, it is what it is.
Idaho.
Hey, we could end up in the Big West or whatever it is.
The big country would just.
Well, I mean,
no, we're seeing it happen. Geographics have nothing to do with
nothing
it
anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they need to blow it up and start doing it like districts in basketball in high school, and you keep teams that are close, relatively close.
It'd be cheaper.
It would be way cheaper. But again, the big schools, no, they're not going to allow that because they don't care. They don't mind crossing 3 time zones to play a tennis match.
Yeah.
Which to me is just the most ridiculous thing ever. But
here we are.
Yeah,
Here we are.
This is the new world. This is the world that I had a couple of coaches this week call me asking advice about stuff. Kids staying with their program, leaving, and I told them, look, guys, you don't want to ask me because you're asking a guy that's from a different world that looks at it differently. You guys are the ones that are going to have to deal with this world going forward. Well, we don't want to set a precedent that we can't undo. And I'm like, in today's world, you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Because you have a right in a year now to do a totally different precedent because the world's going to change. Back when I was doing it at the beginning, you set the precedent and it stayed for 15 years. But now the world, it's changing so fast.
It does.
You basically just need to look at it as, what do I think is right for me for the next year?
Yeah.
and then adjust. It's kind of like, when I started coaching, when was something going to become obsolete technologically? Well, it was like 5 or 6 years. Now something's obsolete in 3 months. And so that's kind of the same thing.
I know a person who has a big screen flat television and it's broken and they wanted to repair it. And I said, no, it'll cost you 3 times more to repair it than it will to throw it away and buy a new one.
Just throw it away and buy a new one.
And I feel like that's our mentality even with everything. I mean, when I look at a roster and a player has played for 4 teams in 4 years, anyway, sorry. That's a throwaway mentality.
But it is the way that it is becoming. And so the younger coaches need to learn how to do that.
They have to.
Way more than I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't need to learn. I'm not going to be doing it 40 years from now. So you're going to have to figure that world out. And it is very different. It's very different.
Very different.
You're the young generation.
I know. I've got to take what I've learned here today and I'll put it forth to everybody.
Sure you are. by the time I walk to the other side of here, you'll have forgotten it.
That's very true. That's very true. I probably will.
Unless I can figure out a way to put it on TikTok, and then you'll remember it for another 10 minutes.
You do
then
things
it'll be
TikTok, and
that's funny.
I'll be good with it.
Sorry, Dave.
No, you're good. Listen, no, whatever you have just said, it has been so much better than whatever Coach Simpson jokes with me about, because he'll be like, "Oh wow, they let you check out of elementary school early to come to the show today. That's really good."
Coach Simpson was not always nice.
No, Coach
in a nice way.
Yeah, no.
If I was an announcer.
Yeah.
What would I do in that situation?
I
would probably get fired. I would probably
We
get
should
fired.
probably wrap
I
this
would
up, right?
probably take it and flip it. And so if somebody said to me, they let you out of elementary school, and I'm saying, well, yeah, about the same time they let you out of the geriatric ward. I mean, I would just flip whatever
Next
on
season's going to be great.
whoever says
that's
something.
going to be the first episode.
We could put a little wire in his ear, and you could get
Yeah, I know. Like Impractical Jokers or something like that.
Yeah, I would probably. I would butcher that.
Yeah.
It would be fun though.
No, it would. It would. Well, Coach, thanks.
Just
so
don't do
much.
it to me.
No.
Let's do it to everybody else.
Oh,
Do it
all
to
the
everybody
coaches
else.
are fine. Me, I'm
Yeah, no,
yeah,
Coach
don't-
McMillan's in the inner circle.
Yeah,
He's in
don't-
the inner
no,
circle of
don't do me.
Zaxby's.
Don't
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck here this week, and happy holidays.
Thank
to
you. You too. Are we on the radio this weekend?
Yeah. Thursday,
Okay,
yeah.
good. So
All
I can wish
conference
happy
games.
birthday later on. I
Yeah.
mean, happy birthday. I was
Merry
thinking
Christmas.
of Frosty the Snowman. Happy birthday.
You got it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And that'll wrap it up for our final episode of 2024 in Skyhawk Sports Talk. We'll be back after the first of the year in 2025. Great episode, though, with Coach Shulman, Vlad, Anaya, and Kevin McMillan joining us as they're about to hit the road for OVC play. And it's crazy to think that, I mean, we're already here for conference play and getting it started before Christmas as well.
Yeah, it's wild to be starting in December, and there'll be a little break after Christmas. But you want to get off to a good start, as we talked about in the interviews, and looking forward to the games Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, I want to wish a happy holidays to all our listeners. Very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. As for Chris Brinkley and myself, Davis Gregory, and our whole crew want to say God bless from Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.